Hello, my name is Taisha. I have been on Zepbound for 76 weeks, and I'm back to give you an update. I'm going to do a quick recap. I am 5'7", 47 years old, mother of five. My highest weight was 216 pounds, and my starting weight on Zepbound last year in February was 183 pounds. I am currently holding steady at 125 pounds. So that is the weight portion. Some of the changes that I made. When I started off, I was already a vegan. And really quick before I get into that, I am not under this illusion, and I don't want you to be under it either, that being a vegan equals just being healthy, because that wasn't the case, right? That wasn't my story. And I think that sometimes there's this misconception that if you switch to a vegan diet, that's automatically you're just going to lose weight. And I just want you to know that that's not true. And the reasons for me, I would be what you would consider an ethical vegan, and it's strictly about the animals, right? I don't eat anything that comes from animals, bugs, no honey, nothing. And that's just a personal choice. It's a lifestyle for me. So I wanted to say that. Now, if you want to switch over or you want to incorporate more of those things into your diet, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I just wanted to clarify that just switching to a vegan diet and you're eating all the ultra processed foods and the things that I was doing before, that's not going to get you necessarily to the state of health um, that you probably want to be in. So now that that's out of the way, when I started my Zepbound journey, I switched to primarily eating a whole food plant based diet. So I do a lot of chickpeas, beans, tofu, um, quinoa, lentils, of course, different vegetables and fruit. And I wouldn't consider myself, I wouldn't say that I eat in a restrictive way, right? They're just anything that's from an animal, I'm just not going to eat it. So I have found that I am getting, when I was diligently tracking, which is something that I started in March of 2024, I was getting anywhere between 110 and 140 grams of protein a day. Scratch that. That was after getting that first DEXA scan. So I had one done in in January. Then I had another one done late March. Um, and I had lost a significant amount of muscle. So I started tracking those things. And in December, I added creatine to the mix. And then let's see, I've been doing that every single day. And recently, I want to say 4 weeks ago, I increased that from 1 scoop of 5 grams to 2 scoops, which is 10 grams. And that's been going well. Now, I know there's a lot of, there's this misconception that you can't get enough protein on a vegan diet. And I just need you to know that that's not true. I am still building muscle. Now, I have no bodybuilder goals or anything like that, but I just want to show you like I am building muscle. This was very flabby. Like when I first started losing weight, there was a lot of, which is normal, right? If you want to fill that in, you're probably going to need to build muscle. Now I'm 47. I'm not in my 20s where things just, snatch back. It's just different. I am also perimenopausal. I started hormone replacement therapy in January. So I am on point 0.1 of the estradiol patch. That's twice a week. And I also am on the testosterone gel, just a little pea sized amount every day. And I haven't had any bad reactions. And honestly, the issues that I was having, um, with like the intense night sweats, the brain fog, a lot of that has gotten better. Something else, I used to wake up multiple times through the night to pee. And since getting on these good levels, or the best level for me, I haven't had that. Um, So I don't know how that's tied in, but that's been my experience. Now let's go back to the dietary portion. I feel like you should eat in a way that's going to be sustainable for you. I don't believe in being extreme or super restrictive or cutting out entire food groups unless, again, if you're a vegan, then obviously the meat food group would be cut out. But if you are, let's say, and I'm not addressing diabetics, right? Let's just say you don't have issues with that. And you say, well, I'm going to cut out carbs or I'm going to do 25 grams of carbs a day. If you're not going to do that forever, why do it to lose weight? Because once you reintroduce them, you're just going to gain the weight back. And if you think about it, right, just think about anything extreme you've done in the past. It wasn't sustainable. Okay. Now, I know there are people who, for health reasons, they have different reasons for cutting out groups. And if you're under the guidance of a doctor, then obviously this doesn't apply to you. But if you're just cutting out things just for the sake of losing weight, it's not going to be sustainable long term. Now, I don't know you, but the people in my life that I know personally that have done things like keto, yeah, they lost the weight. But I look at those people now and they've gained it back and then some because they weren't able to sustain that. So if it's sustainable for you, again, and if your doctor is cool with it, go for it. Go for it. But that just hadn't been the case of what I've seen with people I see personally. Now, you can see everything online, but people I know in real life, they weren't able to sustain that. So, what you want to do is just make sure you're getting more nutritious, healthy foods than the not so healthy ones. And we can admit, right? We can agree that there are healthy options and unhealthy options. Ultimately, the thing that you're going to be successful in is the thing that you can be consistent with. So just remember that. Just remember that. I go live every Monday, and that is at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And what's nice about that is really just a community interaction. If you come to a live stream, it's definitely going to be different than just watching a video, right? You'll get to interact with others in the community and you'll be able to ask me anything. And it's real time. So, like, if you need follow up, then, hopefully I can clarify it enough for you. But I really do enjoy that. That's like, I think going live for me is, I enjoy that more than just creating videos. Now, when I first started off, I was really excited because I had something to report every week. But really, I've gotten to this point where I feel like, I'm just saying the same thing every week. And I know that it's showing consistency, but I would really rather have like, more interesting things to talk about. So, I did what I needed to do as far as switching up my workouts to make this thing, fun again. And something else that I started again recently is playing on my drums. So I've been doing that for a few days. I want to say I started on the 31st, right? And then on Saturday, I got up and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go up here and bang on these drums. And I I was on it for hours and I didn't even realize it. So time just flew by and I want to tell you it feels so good to be at this point again where I'm like re-energized and I just had to switch it up. So I'm going to say this again. If you are at that blah point, because I was there, find something else, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be working out, something. Maybe you used to read a lot and you haven't been reading and you can get lost in books. Find a good book. Do something to ignite that spark. Because I'm telling you, it's a normal part of the process to get to that point where you're just like, I'm over it, right? That's normal. But what do we do with that? We have to do something with that. We can't just sit with it. And that is something that I did in the past. If I was, you know, let's say I missed a day of working out or something. That was it. And that's because I wasn't really that into it. If I'm being 100% honest with you and myself, I just wasn't that into it. So that's why it's important to find things that you enjoy. And you may not necessarily enjoy them in the moment, but overall, it brings you some sort of enjoyment. So for me, that's the strength training, yoga, these drums, I'm reading more. I'm doing things, I'm working on other things, not just this weight loss journey, right? And I'm looking at it more as a health journey. And maybe if you frame it that way, you won't get so caught up in that number on the scale not moving because I can assure you, if you're doing the right things, wait, hold on. I am pretty sure if you're doing the right things, what the right things are for you could be different than what they are for me. But for me, it's making sure that I'm getting enough food, I'm drinking enough water, and a gallon of water a day because I don't drink anything else. That works for me. And I'm not sure if I mentioned it already, but prior to being on Zepbound, I already consumed a lot of fluids. They just weren't water. So it was lattes and energy drinks and sweet tea. And I say this a lot. I kind of, I kind of feel like a broken record, but I already had a high volume of fluids coming in. So when I started, I just decided I'm going to drink water. Now, there was one time, I want to say I was like a week or two into it, where I was like, oh, let me try some tea, sweet tea, because that was something that I swear I probably drank like a half gallon a day. But I went to sip it and I just had no interest in it. Didn't make me sick or anything like that. So I guess I've gotten to this point where I'm like, why force something? If I don't really want it, then what am I doing? And for you with foods, if you're eating something that's not agreeing with you, don't keep trying to force it. Just don't eat it. And it may sound like I'm just trying to simplify it, but to a degree it is simple, right? If I eat this and it makes me feel sick, I'm not eating it anymore. So you can find new things, experiment with different recipes. There's a plethora of videos on YouTube with, you know, people cooking and making different recipes. There's so many things online. So, we have this advantage. You don't necessarily have to go out and buy a bunch of cookbooks, but if you want to have something in hand, you can check some out at the library, right? Everything doesn't have to be this extremely expensive thing. A lot of these things we can do for free. So, tap into things that bring you joy, that put a smile on your face, and do that. Do that too. Okay. Don't get stuck in this loop of, you know, the scale and letting that dictate how your day is or how you feel about yourself. Something else that I see a lot of that I it just popped in my head. People complain about the weight at the doctor being different than at home. I don't know about you, but I weigh myself naked first thing in the morning whenever I'm doing a weight. That's just what I do. At the doctor's office, I'm not naked and it's not first thing in the morning. So, of course, my weight at home is going to be different than the weight at the doctor's office. So, think about that. I hear some people beat themselves up about it, and they're upset and like, this or this scale sucks. It's not a big deal. Those few pounds. Now, if you're noticing a 20-pound difference, then something may be off somewhere. But remember that if you're used to weighing yourself, in your birthday suit first thing in the morning, it's going to be different than what you have at the doctor's office. Okay. Um, how you can find me. So if you're interested in seeing what my days of eating look like, I don't do what I eat in a day videos. I don't. I post everything that I eat on Instagram. So if you're interested in seeing that, it's there. There's pictures of everything there. And on my stories, a lot of times, sometimes it'll just have a little bit of music. And then other times I'm saying this meal is this. So I don't do where I'm sharing the carbs, the macros. I don't do any of that anymore. It started to become tedious. So I have an idea of what the things are because I've been eating this pretty much the same foods for over a year now. So I have a grasp on that. Tracking for me initially was about making sure I was getting enough. because I absolutely wasn't in the beginning. And that is why I lost 18.8 pounds in 4 weeks. And that was on the 2.5 milligrams. And I'm not sure if I mentioned that. So I guess I should say that really quickly. I started off at 2.5 milligrams. And then after the 4 weeks, I was titrated up to 5. And that's my dose. That's my dose. There was a time a few months ago where you can see that video. That's actually, it's on there. It's in there. You'll see it has something to do with, gaining like 13.8 pounds in a short amount of time. And that was when we did that little adjustment to 2.5. And 2 weeks of that, I just went up to 5. I went back up to 5. And then by that second 5 milligram dose, I was, everything kind of equaled back out. So these meds do more than just appetite suppression. If you're someone that struggles with inflammation, water retention, you may notice an improvement of that with those things because that is something that I noticed. I think this is it. Okay, today is Monday, August 4th. I will be live streaming tonight, and that's at 7 p.m. So, feel free to join. It's a good time. Um, I'd like to believe it's a good time. The people that come there say it is, and it seems to be helpful. And I think when you have a community of people kind of going through the same things, you can bounce ideas off of each other. So just know none of it's medical advice. None of it, take it with a grain of salt. If you see something or you hear something and it's like, okay, this resonates with me, then, take it with you, and at the end of the day, you want to make sure your doctor is okay with everything that you're doing. I have a daily dose of mindset podcast. Well, it's labeled as a podcast, but it's a video that I do every single day. And we are up to, I want to say today was 150 something, 150 something episodes. And they're really short. And it's just that boost in the morning. So check it out. If you like it, cool. If not, that's okay too. I am going to wrap this up because I don't want to start rambling. But I want you to know that this journey is going to be what you make of it. So if your plan is to let the medication do all the work for you, I'm going to tell you, you're not going to be successful. And I know that's probably not the nicest thing to say, but it's the truth. You're not going to be successful. You want to make lifestyle changes. And if you're someone that plans to get off, you know what? Whether you plan to get off or not, making lifestyle changes is important. So that's all I'm going to say. Keep it simple. And remember, we can share our journeys, but we should never compare them. Bye.